Welcome back to the shop, folks. Today I have this window motor apart for the Lotus Esprit, and I don't know if we can see it in the camera, but there is a groove in this gear where it degraded or spun, so as the wind is trying to go up, it hits that groove and just goes thump, 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 where it's spinning and rubbing the edges off. I don't know if you can see that. So what I did is got in my 3D design software and made a new gear for it. I printed this in high temp PLA. I've got ABS too, but I thought the high temp PLA would be a little more durable. It does seem to be a stronger filament, but that's going to go in and work. So what we're going to do is put it back together now. We're going to do a little clean and prep, make sure all the holes are good and clean. I was playing with it earlier, trying to make sure it was going to work, and should work just fine. This little rubber will go in. It's a little deteriorated, but should be fine. And what we're going to do is put quite a bit of grease on this thing, because PLA does well with grease on it. But that should do the trick. Actually, I got those backwards. That washer should be there, and then the spring washer. Okay, so let me get some grease. We'll grease it up. Give us a big wad in the teeth here. All right, so we got some grease in every tooth. That should be more than enough. Now let's put some power to it and let it spin. Seems to be working pretty good. Let's go the opposite direction. Nice and smooth, no drops in it. So we're gonna add a little grease right back here on this button where it rides against the case here. Okay. You can see it's turning smoothly. Go ahead and disconnect the power. It's time to put the drive gear back on. Which just taps down on here. My battery's getting low, so we're gonna get my other one out. There we go. GoPro stop capture. So this one, the motor goes in like so. And then this bracket goes on like so. Missing a washer. Okay, so they're all back together. We'll move the camera. We're going to clamp this down where it's not going to move. That way it's going against the spring. And that way it's going with it. Problem solved. Now this repair took a couple of hours and to design the gear and print the gear and such. But these motors are about $350 if you can find them. They may be more as they start getting more and more scarce. But that little 3D printed gear and cleaning the brushes on the motor just cost me a few hours of time, and that's it. The 3D printed gear might have been $1 worth of plastic. So if you have the ability to do that, that's the way to go, instead of $350 to $400 for a motor that might or might not work. That was used, by the way. So I've got the window motor reinstalled in the car. If any of you are doing a Lotus Esprit window motor like I am, you're going to want to drill a hole just to the side of the motor case and at the bottom of the bracket, so that you can access the 10mm nut on the bottom. There's a nut just like this one on top here that's 10mm. You can't see it unless you get way back at the back of the door and look in, and it's near impossible to get to. with the window motor in the up position. In the down position, it's even harder. So this is what I came up with. I drilled a hole right here in the door panel to be able to access it. Let's see if I can get you in there where you can see it back there. I don't know if you can see that's kind of right in there. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's in there. All right, so got some power hooked up. Well, it went the wrong way. And obviously the PLA gear did not work, so we're going to be taking this back out. I just wanted to show that it did work. If you're able to get the window motor down just a little bit, it makes taking it out a whole lot easier. I found that in about a quarter down, which is where it is now, is the easiest. You can loosen this bolt, that bolt. You can get to the bottom bolt through the hole that you drill, and you have to take these two completely off and loosen the bottom one about 2 turns where you can lean the motor out. But once these are off, you slide them off of that, raise it up a little bit, and it comes off, and then you can slide the unit down and rotate it out. So I'm going to slide this in here and get on that bolt in the bottom. And we're just going to loosen it about 2 turns roughly. Okay, so I had it down just a little bit too much, but if you're able to get it to about that level, then you can access all 3 bolts if you have that hole. And these top 2 come all the way out, like I said. And this black bar on top here is your door stop. It makes keeps the door from opening all the way up and banging into the hinge over here. So you want to be careful when you take that off. I just kind of slid it up and out of the way. And then you just pop them off right there and raise it up just a hair. Slide it back and then slide it out. And be careful because the window may drop all the way down, so you want to be careful. All right, and just like that, the window motor is out. Not too difficult, fairly simple. So instead of going with ABS, I went with a nylon gear. I printed the same gear I did in PLA in nylon. So there it is, which is what the original gear was made of, I found out. So, and I just did 100% infill because I didn't want to have any issues. Right, flip this over. I don't know if that's over or not. Isn't it? Now we want to switch to our 10 because the next section will be a 10. It'll be these 3 bolts here that hold the motor in. So if any of you are needing to do this on your Lotus I believe these motors came out of a Mercedes and a Porsche. There's a version of it that's a little fatter than this. It's a Porsche version that works. I believe it was out of a 928. I'm not 100% positive on that. But usually either the gear craps out or one of the magnets comes unglued inside. This particular motor had the magnet unglued. If you heard in the original test video, it was growling, and that was the magnet had come loose. So I took it out, cleaned the back side of the case, and reassembled it with some contact cement, some good industrial contact cement, and then I had a working motor again. So we're gonna pop the case off the back here, which is fairly simple. Get the small hammer here. You just kind of get your screwdriver on the edge of the lip there and just tap it out all the way around on these sealed ones. They have some where these are bolted in. They're a little easier to mess with. But you want to be careful. You don't want to hit it too hard and bust it off, because you need it to hold the case back on after you've opened it, and you're putting it all back together. Just work your way around it nice and slow. Then you want to take a vise or something and lay it flat and tap the gear out. I'm going to do this with a small punch or a little mallet. Sometimes you have to do some adjusting to be able to get it to come out all the way. You want to be careful because there are some small washers. So there's the gear, there's the outer washer, there's the inner washers. So when I had made the original one, I did it in red PLA, and then I did a white one in nylon. I had it a little too thick. I had to make it a little thinner. So this is the thinner one. And when I printed it, I didn't realize that I was about 1 millimeter too small around. And that's what caused it to strip, I think. I'm not 100% sure. And the first one was not printed at 100% infill. It was 25% infill, I believe. So this one is 100% infill, and I believe we're correct this time. Just want to rub this grease in this one a little bit. I'll get some right here in it. Grease gun. It's right there. And if this one doesn't work, then I'll make it another millimeter larger, so we get full tooth engagement. So yeah, it looks like I could go 1 millimeter larger if this doesn't do it. All right, so what we're going to do now is push this gear back on. I'm going to take a socket, set on the anvil of the vise so I can just set the bracket down on there. Then we're going to take the hard side of the hammer here and just tap the gear back down. Then I want to stipple one in here. Ouch. That didn't feel good. All I did was stake one in so the gear can't pop off. I do believe we need to do a better job of that. We're going to get us a bigger socket for more stability. And some wood shims. Now we can put some pressure on it. Now that's holding that gear down nice and tight. We're making good contact. That should do it. Just double check our operation before I put it all back together. So now it's much quieter. Let's go the opposite direction here. Switch our wires over on our leads. Okay. Turn the power off. Let's tap our cap back down. When you're doing this, you want to be careful too, because This is spring loaded, even though it's a tight fit. It's got a spring on it going one direction. So you want to get one screw in and then kind of tweak it a little bit till the gear drops in to all 3 screw holes. Each of these screws have a ridge on them, or bolts, or whatever you want to call them. And we'll get a couple of them seated before you let go of the unit. And these don't have to be super tight. If you try and crank them down super tight, you'll strip out the aluminum case. Then you'll have a whole different problem. So that is about where I want it. Now we're going to put our window bracket back on. And these bolts are kind of small and fiddly, and they don't go very deep. Same thing here, you want to snug them, but you don't want to crank them down too much because they will strip out. Ask me how I know. So my older Esprit that I used to have, my green one, had this same setup, and I had to do the same thing on it. But at that time, I didn't know how to 3D print or any of that. And I had to buy a gear, and the gear itself was $80 just for the little plastic gear. And I'm going to tell you, I printed 2 or 3 to try and resolve this, and I might have $5 in it. Not counting my time, but you know, I don't ever count my time when I'm messing with these. All right, let's go put this back in the car. I want the 10 millimeter. Put my tools up real quick here that I won't need. All right. So this is that slot that we slid the bolt off of a few minutes ago. And this is that bolt. Now there's no way to get to that bolt other than fight around the bottom of the gear with your arm inside the door. And you know, you're just blind because you can only see it with your arm out of it. So you have to do everything by feel. So I drilled that hole to go beside the motor at an angle to get to that nut. And it worked out pretty well. So to put this back in, we gotta get the wheel in the part of the window, pull all these wires out of the way and slide it down in here. And ideally you want to get onto that bottom bolt. And then we can move the window around, which I think I'm on it. What I did was just move the window up to rotate the mechanism to where I can get it on the bolts. Which the bolts are loose and they move around because they're on a T, they're like a T-nut or T-bolt to slide in this groove. You can just kind of get it around a little bit, get it where you want it. Don't forget your bracket. And then get one started, and you can make sure that you got the bottom one on by just reaching down here and pulling out on the motor. So remember, we took it 2 turns, so it's on the bolt, so we know we're where we want to be. So now we want to take this and snug it. We don't want to tighten it, but we want to run it up to where it holds it. Because we got to figure out where it has to be to close. And the window motor itself was all the way forward, so we know that that's way back. We want to make sure the door will shut first, which that was all the way forward, so that was going to shut. And we're going to bring it up and just snug it. I want it just loose enough that that bracket can move. And then we'll tighten it up. And that stops the door from opening up into the hinge in the wind. Tighten the bottom. And I'm going to loosen this just a hair, because I need to be on the outer edge of where that catches. Is that enough to close? I think so. Should get me enough to be able to get into the car. And see, it's too far. Now the door won't shut. So you do this little dance a few times until you get it just where the door will shut. And then you'll lock it down. All right. Now let's go get the battery pack where we can raise it up. And hopefully it doesn't strip. My battery is about dead. sounded good, didn't rattle, so we should be good. So I'm going to hook the wires back up. We may have to reverse them at another time. There's also a ground wire here that has to go on, and another nut to go on top of that. Well, folks, that's it for this week's video. Thanks for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you did. I upload new videos each week, so come and check out my page. And thanks again for watching.